Evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Monday, December the 24th, 2023. It was seriously an additional Groundhog Day today. The market has been following the same pattern for pretty much since the beginning of April, on April the 4th. And nothing seems to have broken the pattern just yet. So it does feel like we're waking up and we're going through the same thing day in and day out and day in. So that being that we end up coming out of the Globex session in an upside type of move, reaching most of the time session highs early, and then spending the next 2 to possibly 3 hours of doing nosedives and bringing the market to session lows, and many times exceeding levels that we anticipate may contain things, and before the market then turns and rallies back up to be pinned at a favorable level for the SPX, the ES, and the NDX and the NQ, plus the Qs. So we still are under the spell of and control of zero DTE options. Now, the volumes have lessened in those quite a bit, and I'm not really sure, wouldn't be able to tell you, other than the volumes have been rather light. Why? I'm going to say because the markets are continuing to wait for the larger tech firms to report their earnings, those being Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and those all come this week. So we have Microsoft tomorrow. We have Meta on Wednesday. We have Google tomorrow. And we have Amazon on the 27th. So there, and in true fashion, the financial media, particularly CNBC, but we're not mentioning stations, roll out all of these analysts that they could find that want to present a bullish picture in these stocks for their varied reasons. And regardless of what they say, obviously, unless they've got an inside line to the financials within the company, I think it's just their opinion, which is fine. That's why, it sells airtime, and they need to present a more bullish picture, so they roll them out, and that's what we get. I can't tell you other than I believe that Amazon has been continuing to rally because the belief is that, well, their web services are going to skunk everybody. They're just going to knock them out. And that may be true because we already know that the web services that are provided by Amazon as a whole division has been doing quite well. So, but then we have to go to the retail side and we have to realize, is there anything that's going to be changing over there? Is it going to balance it out? Who knows? So to say some definition on what they believe is because they're running models. Not the models are going to be defective, but they may not include everything or what. I don't know. So again, to sit and say that this is what's going to happen because I think is at this stage of the game maybe a little bit of a misstep, because we are entering into a slowdown. The markets have turned very slow right now in advance of getting this additional data. So I don't have anything new to add to what the count is, or even to what the prospects and the potential are for this continued rally that doesn't seem to want to grasp hold and continue to move up. So, but I am leaving that open. Now, with the markets coming down and making slight new lows below those that we saw on Friday, just shifts the second wave over and produces a double ABC down to this point. Perfect fit for a wave 2. Did not break the rule. Should the market continue to move lower overnight and come in down below 12,925, then it will be producing a low below wave 4 and going beyond the price territory of wave 1, and that's the rule breaker. So again, should that occur, then we'll be taking these off and we'll see what all of this really is going to fit out to be. Right now, it's still between 2 fib points and moving very jagged all along its way. Now, if this is wave 2, then we'd be looking for a minute wave 3 And that minute wave 3 should be able to get above 13,070, 13,125, 170, 212, all the way up into this zone. For a wave 3, should get up into this zone, even possibly above wave 1, before we pull back and come back up to complete that minute third wave, and then pull back in a 4. Ultimately, I continue to look for the possibility that we could get up into this zone, which is 13,440 to 13,460. That is still within the realm of possibilities. And because they're putting so much behind this, I'm sure there's a lot of algorithms that are going to be push the buy button, no matter what happens. We've seen it before. We may see it again. Moving average-wise here in the NASDAQ, Sleepy City. The 50 and the 200s are very sleepy. In fact, the 50 barely is going to get ready to start to turn higher, and that's after the fairly strong rally. Let me open that up so that it makes a little bit more sense to you. All right, there's the 50, sleeping on top of that resistance at 13,070, just asleep like a snake wrapping itself around. The 20 pretty much going flat, and the 4 and the 8 going flat after the bell, and still flat as we start the Globex session. Over in the S&P, it truly is the same story. We got no changes to make over there as well, other than I moved the 4 over 1 notch as we came down during Globex and produced an additional new low. Same deal during the day. We had a beautiful rally, and then it nosedived down to session lows, and then it just rallied all the way back to where it can be pinned, which was 4160. Basis the ES future, and that equates to about 40. It actually equated to about 4135, but it managed to get itself above 35 in the SPX. It closed at 4137. So that was a pretty decent close. Pin, boom, all the money comes off, and we're fine. So Globex is underway now, and we're starting to continue to move a little bit lower. But here as well, I'd be looking for this to hold up, but we might get another leg down. If this is a 1 and this is an A, B, C, and a 2, we'd be looking for something to go a little bit further than 4139. Hold above 4133, since that's the wave 1. A break below 4133 kind of shifts this whole picture yet again. So I'm not looking for it right now. I am looking at the possibility this holds, we turn, and we start to rally. 4167, 4174 to 72, those remain in the picture. 4188, 4195, 4202, those all remain in the picture. Should we be so lucky as the wave 5 would equal wave 3? Not looking for it right now. In fact, I'd be looking for 4187, but I need it above 4198. So I'm going to push all the way up to these levels. This can occur, but I'm not looking for it right now. There's been too much weakness and an inability to really start to push. Possibly some of the earnings that will come out tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday may provide that catalyst for it to finally get up there and finish. And what I'm looking for is 5 waves of minute degree. Let's just take this out 1 notch to the 4-hour. 5 waves of minute degree to finish the minor 5, to finish the intermediate wave C, and in turn, the primary B wave. I'm just going to leave it right there. There's not a whole lot more to be adding. Gold sitting right at 2,000 again after it basically humbled itself and dropped below 1985 early in the session, managed to rally all the way back, now managing to get itself back above 2,000. So there was that, and it remains fairly on a good footing to speak of. The bond market, pretty boring, actually. Bonds, very on the quiet side, nothing new to add to them. So we're going to finish it up right there. Our next update will be on Tuesday, the 25th.